Hello and welcome to Rambling Media, the only show... Today I'm here with...
Did you lose your train of thought?
No, he didn't.
No, that was the joke. Yeah, so I'm Today I am joined by Bluejay.
Hi.
Switch. That's you.
Oh, yes, howdy. Sorry. Spaced out for a second there.
And also Sherlock.
Hello there.
Right, so today...
What's your name?
Oh yeah, right. I'm Midnight, and as usual, we're here to talk about some media again today. But I am no longer running the episode. Instead, actually, Bluejay is the one running today's episode. So, if you would mind, Bluejay, mind telling us about the story we're covering today.
Sure, I'm just double checking my notes because I have a brilliant memory. We are looking at a book called The Tale of Despereaux by Kate DiCamillo. I apologize in advance. There's a lot of French names in this. I'm probably going to mispronounce most of them because I don't know French. So, just getting that out of the way, it was published in 2003, which I grew up reading this, so now I feel old. Which is always a good start to things. Anywho, it's an interesting story. I'll just explain the major beats of the plot and then people can jump in as they see fit. Interestingly enough, this story is split up into multiple parts because there's multiple main characters. So we start with the backstory of each of them and then we combine everything at the end. We start with Despereaux himself, who is a very small mouse. He is born in a castle with, the only term I could use to describe it is Dumbo ears. Like, his ears are unnaturally large. And for some reason, they like to focus on the fact that he was born with his eyes open, which is quite unusual, and they bring it up quite often. So, yeah, I think it's more the fact that, like, something strange about this mouse.
Outside of the ears.
Outside of the ears, yes. And, like, apparently he stays really small as well. He has older siblings, but unlike most mice, he was the only surviving member of his quote-unquote litter. And after that, his mother says she's not having any more children. So he remained the youngest.
Okay. It was just... Despereaux came in the world and the mum was like, yeah, that's enough.
Well, he was the only one who survived. I don't know. It doesn't say how many mice would have been in the litter, but mice have pretty big litters at any one time, so...
Oh, okay.
So she's like, I'm not going through that again.
Well, the thing is...
As in, so doesn't want to have to suffer the loss of that many children again.
I'd assume so, yes. It's implied like that. Also, the mother is French. Says something about her hitching a lift on a visiting noble, and that's how she came to a castle. Oh, this particular castle, anyway. Hence the name Despereaux, which I assume is French. And to give you an idea of what his mother thinks of him, he is often referred to as a disappointment by her and his extended family.
Damn, sounds like just... Instead of Despereaux, it should be Depresso.
A case could be made, yes. Anywho, we sort of see him growing up a little bit. His older siblings try to teach him essentially how to be a mouse, like, scurrying around looking for food, that kind of thing. However, he finds himself mimicking the Little Mermaid and being fascinated by human things. Really likes human music, and for some reason he can read. No one taught him, he just knows how to, because, one of his sisters takes him to the library to try and get him to chew on paper, he literally says, "No, I can't. It would hurt the story." And the sister just looks at him like he's crazy. I have no explanation for this.
So he's the only mouse that can read?
Well, he's the only one who's ever tried to. Whether or not the others could learn, I don't know. He's the only one who's shown any interest in it.
Okay, that just immediately makes me think of like an idiocracy type situation. He could have easily convinced the rest of his family he was just psychic.
I'm not sure that's how that works.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no, because like if they don't know how to read,
yeah,
it gets weirder.
Yeah.
Very, very weirder. His fascination with music takes him to the bedroom of a young princess.
Ooh.
And for some reason, falls in love with her.
Shout out B-movie.
Pretty much.
Yo.
Wait, okay, so just so we're on the same page here, you mean a human princess, right?
I do.
Okay.
And
I wasn't sure if this was like, if this was
Also-
all just animals.
she's 12.
Shout out B-movie. No.
That was a full-grown adult. Mind you, the mouse is still a child as well, so there's that.
Yeah, but B's only lived for a few days, so like
Good
I'm just
point.
saying that.
I mean, if we're putting scientific logic to that movie, male bees don't leave the hive.
Well, also,
True.
if we're using real-world logic, a bee would not be able to live long enough to be able to
Nope.
do through a whole court case.
They would definitely not. They would be dead. That would be a generational thing.
It would be more like hundreds of generations by that point.
Correct. So that would not work for many reasons. Anywho, apparently the mice that live in this castle have a sort of government that's called the Mouse Council.
The Mouncil, for short.
No. I'm saying immediately no to that.
Okay, continue.
And one of...
History of cheese.
Still no. One of Despereaux's brother sees him with the princess, because the princess spots him and it's like, "Oh, you're so cute, I want to keep you," and she pets him and stuff. And the mouse and Despereaux's already fallen in love with her, so this is fine. Anyway, apparently it is forbidden to interact with humans,
Oh.
and they have a very elaborate punishment. They send him to the dungeons.
Yeah.
There's this whole symbology thing to it. Like, they send him to the dungeons with a red thread around his neck, which is
Symbolic?
Yeah.
symbolizing death. It's like, this mouse is being sent here to die. Probably didn't need the red thread, because there's rats in the dungeon, he's gonna die anyway.
Oh, true.
So it's more for the mice than the rats.
Yeah, true.
So it's a whole symbology thing. And to make things even more emotionally painful, none of his family members stick up for him, and one of his brothers actually takes him to the dungeon.
Yeah, what a champ.
Yeah, so his family sucks. And so he gets to the dungeon, and for some reason is picked up by essentially the jailer. We find out his name. His name is Gregory. We find out his name because he loves to refer to himself in the third person.
That's good.
He is important. I promise he's important.
Look, he's a superstar. What can I say?
Well, he picks up the mouse and says, because while Despereaux is just in the dark on his own, he starts to tell himself a story to comfort himself.
Oh, okay.
The jailer hears this, is like, "I will keep you safe if you tell me a story."
Oh, okay, good.
And that is the end of part 1.
Right.
Any questions?
Um,
Or more importantly, at what point did I lose you?
well, I mainly remember the movie, if I gotta
Which
say.
isn't
I
very...
didn't even realize there was a movie.
There was an animated movie. It's not
animated movie.
great.
Are you so you're telling me that the whole thing with the princess, she was in there, she was in the story for what, a total of like a minute and then she never shows up again?
No.
She got raised up by Stuart Little and then went to the prison.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, thanks for the curse content.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for that.
Well, if I remember from the story, wasn't it?
Version.
Well,
The film version is a little different to the movie version. To the book version, I mean.
Wasn't it like one similarity, like the queen getting like at the start a rat falls.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Spoilers.
Spoiler. Okay.
Spoilers midnight.
Yeah, but that's at the start of the story.
Okay.
Like canonical. Like, isn't that like?
I'll explain. Because we start with the birth of the mouse, because technically he's the main character.
Okay.
And then we go back. We're going back in time.
Okay, we're going back in time.
Back in time
Take us on the journey.
to the birth of the rat.
Yeah, the birth of the rat.
Yes. I'm probably going to completely butcher this name. I apologize. I call him Chiroscuro because it's
How's it spelled?
Chiroscuro. Most people call him Roscuro. That's how I'm going to be referring to him from this point forward.
I believe it's. I've read it. I think it's Chioscuro. At least like in terms of art terms.
We've established I don't know French. And yes, his name is important. It refers to a combination of light and darkness, and because rats typically don't like light, it's meant as a bit of a joke.
That's what I was gonna say. Is that's what it means as an art. Like in art, that's what it's termed, and I'm pretty sure it's either French or Italian. I also looked up what the meaning of Despereaux is, and it means careless of danger. Continue.
Oh, that explains so much. Thank you for that. That explains a lot. Anywho, going back to the jailer for going back to Gregory for a tiny bit.
Gregory. Sorry.
It's not my fault, that's his name.
Yeah, it's just like when I hear Gregory, I just think of like Five Nights at Freddy's security breach. The character Gregory, because like every single time Freddy Fazbear is just like, Gregory, hop into my stomach.
Okay then.
Gregory, have you played Among Us?
Anyway, the way this dungeon works is that it's functioned a bit like a maze. Gregory has a rope tied around his ankle so that he doesn't get lost. Roscuro, being a rat, one of the first things he does in the dungeon is start to chew through it. And, like, Gregory discovers him doing this and is like, there's actually rules in place, you're not allowed to do that. Roscuro, being a rat, is like, I don't...
rules, I have green hair.
He's a rat, he doesn't have green hair.
But he could.
But he doesn't.
He's referencing Yu-Gi-Oh!
The Abridged series.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. And in punishment, Gregory holds a lit match very close to Roscuro's face.
Ooh.
Firelord Zuko?
No, it just slightly singes his whiskers, and it's like a warning. What it results in is Roscuro having an unnatural fascination with light. And he spends quite a while looking for it. Like, he'll look for any tiniest bit of light he can find.
Please, a crumb of light, please. Sorry.
You don't get light in crumbs.
Just a morsel. I watched The Little Match. I read The Little Match Girl.
No, we are never, ever, ever doing that. No. That's just way too depressing.
Oh, come on.
No! I do not want to discuss a young girl dying of hypothermia, thank you.
Yeah. I mean, look, light matches. There's a link.
Okay, fine, whatever.
Okay, sorry.
Anyway, at some point we meet a new prisoner. Like, okay, getting ahead of myself. One of his quote-unquote friends in the dungeon is trying to convince Roscoe, like, no, you don't want light. Light's terrible. What you need to do is, like, you know, he's a bit of a sadist. Just, like, take joy out of emotionally torturing the prisoners because, you know, it's not bad enough that they're in a prison. And this is where we meet a newly incarcerated person. Was arrested for cattle theft.
Wait, a human?
Yes, a human.
In this same dungeon.
Oh, so it's a real... Okay,
It's
so
a real dungeon
prison.
for humans.
Okay.
The rats just live there.
Yeah, it's not the rat dungeon.
No, the rats would not stand there. The rats just live there.
Because I was picturing in my head, so wait, did they just commandeer a sewer or something and they made that their prison? Okay.
No. It is the human dungeon that the rats live in. I should have made that clear. And Roscoe convinces this prisoner to tell his story about why he's there. Then we find out he actually did something worse than cattle theft.
Oh.
He sold his own daughter for a chicken, a cigar, and a red tablecloth.
Good deal to me.
The only thing he has left at this point is the tablecloth, which Roscoe pinches.
So then he has nothing.
How does this rat pick up a full frickin' tablecloth?
That is an excellent question. I don't know. It's not stated. He just does.
He's got mage hand.
Yeah.
Sure.
He's
He's a rat. He's a decent size. Depends on what the tablecloth's made out of, I guess.
Silk or linen.
No, hang on, that doesn't even make sense. Mage hand, you can't lift anything you wouldn't otherwise be physically capable of doing.
No, you can lift anything capable of that weighs about 3 pounds.
I doubt the tablecloth weighs that much.
So in other words, it would be even weaker then for him.
No, it'd be ridiculous.
Oh wait, no, flat repair. Oh wait, yeah, compared to what a rat can normally lift. Yeah, okay, that would be pretty powerful then.
All right, back on topic. So the tablecloth has been stolen.
Yes, and he quickly realizes it wasn't the tablecloth he wanted. It was because it was like thrown through the door after the prisoner, and the light shone through, so it was actually the light he wanted. So he goes up into, quote, upstairs into the castle proper. And he's sort of just entranced by all the light he sees, like he's loving it.
Like torches the sun.
Yeah, something like that. Anywho, he ends up in a banqueting hall during a feast. And this is where what Midnight alluded to. He ends up looking down at the feast from a chandelier. Fortunately, the princess spots him, points him out. Roscoe is startled and falls into the queen's soup, resulting in the queen dying of a heart attack.
Sorry, that's not funny. I'm a mature human being.
The fact that she...
Since when?
So is it implied that she has a heart attack because of the fright of the rat? Or
I assume so, yes.
Or is it like she ate a little bit of the soup and got a disease?
Why would she immediately eat the soup after the rat fell in it?
No, I think it was the shock of the rat falling in her soup. And in a totally rational response, the king bans soup and rats.
Why soup?
How do you...
I am not entirely sure.
And also, if you're banning an entire group of food, then...
This leads us to part 3.
Ooh.
Which is... I feel really bad for this girl.
Also, how does he ban all rats? I mean, in like, what time period is this roughly?
Well, he's in a castle. I think it's Middle Ages, roughly.
So, like, 1500s?
It doesn't actually say exactly what time period it is, but it is implied it is a ridiculous ban to make. But he makes it because he just lost his wife and is in grief. Not thinking rashly, methinks.
Well, it could also be during the time when the Black Death was ravaging Europe, which would...
No one dies of that kind of sickness. It's never brought up, so I don't think it is.
that was the train of thought I was going in, but but in the opposite direction. I was thinking like, whatever happens at the climax of this story, the rats bring the Black Death as revenge against the humans.
That would be absurd.
That would be absurd.
But
Especially
also, it wasn't the rats that brought...
It was the fleas that were on the rats. The rats were blamed.
It was thought it was probably still assumed at the time this story was written that that rats caused the Black Death, though.
It was written in 2003.
Oh, it was okay. I thought this was like an 1800 story or something, like a fable.
No, it's written as one, but it's not even close to being that old.
Well,
it's written as a modern fairy tale.
Yeah, not a fable.
To an extent. Fables have morals.
Yeah.
Although, I'll cross that bridge when I come to it. Anyway...
I mean, in a roundabout way, I mean, the whole story could be a moral for, bestiality is bad, maybe?
No. It's definitely...
It's a kid's book.
It is a kid's book!
Why
I'm gonna slap you with this kid's book if you're not careful.
I mean, plenty of kids played Ringa Ringa Rosie without knowing what it means, so could be the same with this.
That was very thinly veiled. This is not. Anyway, now we're going back in time again to before the rat was born. This is where we find out what happened to the daughter of the prisoner we met in Rosgaro's story. I feel really bad for this girl. I think her parents hated her. Her name is Miggery Sow.
Like sow as in the name for a...
Pig. Yep. S-O-W. I feel like her parents really hated her.
That's grim.
Yep, well, her mother dies from some sort of illness, it doesn't state what kind, and she's sold by her father shortly afterwards.
How old was this girl when she was sold?
She was 6.
Okay. So it can't be complications from childbirth.
No. And the guy who buys her is physically abusive and probably emotionally abusive as well, to be honest. She gets beaten around, like, the traditional term, the term used is like a box to the ears.
Content warning, by the way.
It happens so often that by the time years later, she's mostly deaf. The phrase used is they become as useful as a pair of cauliflowers. It's a term often used in boxing when they get hit in the head a lot. It's called a cauliflower ear.
Oh, yeah, no, I've heard that term.
Yeah, that's essentially what happens to her.
Okay. I
It's
was just confused about the metaphor there, because I was like, cauliflowers aren't useless, they're still used in...
So
they're not useful when it comes to ears.
No.
I take it you haven't watched The Boys, have you?
No,
You take it correctly.
Because I was thinking of that scene with Homelander and the Daredevil dude.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay then. The standouts here in her story is on her 7th birthday, she sees the royal family riding past because she works on a farm. And, she sees the princess in all her glory and says, you know what, one day I'd like to be a princess. Because that's a valid dream. Her life sucks at this point.
Yeah. So, and then what's the next part then?
After that, we then come to the Queen dying and soup being banned, and all the soldiers are sent out to tell people soup is banned. You must now hand over your spoons, bowls, and kettles.
Right.
It's
Kettles specifically.
yes, kettles.
You need spoons for more than just soup.
I know.
Well, also-
We've established the king is not being very rational. It's the king in Sleeping Beauty destroying all the spinning wheels. It's essentially the same thing here.
A little bit, yeah.
Although slightly less rational.
We're talking about Cinderella, by the way.
Sleeping Beauty.
That one.
Cinderella had nothing to do with spinning wheels.
She literally just name dropped Sleeping Beauty.
I
right
did.
before.
I really did. It's good to know you're listening.
Let's go.
And the uncle, the
It's really something when I'm the one who was listening more intently.
yeah. Midnight, put your phone away.
I'm checking that. I'm double checking things.
Do you not trust my knowledge?
Yes.
Okay then. And the soldier who comes to the house where Miggery lives finds out that the man she's living with technically owns her, which is apparently illegal. You're not allowed to own people.
You heard it here first, kids.
So Miggery is taken to the castle, and this is where you find out that she's not the smartest person in the world.
She's not the sharpest tool in the drawer.
Correct. She goes through several jobs and fails at all of them quite spectacularly.
What are we talking here? Like,
Well, how do I put this? Like, she drops things, she tried to do sewing work and ended up somehow sewing her clothing to someone else's clothing and ruining both, so
that's
not the brightest.
impressive.
I know, as someone who does sewing, that's an impressive. I don't know how she managed that. Mind you, I use a sewing machine. It might have been easier doing it by hand. Who knows?
You have to pick up the segment of your clothing that you're working on and also your own clothing.
Yep. Again, I don't know how she does this. Anyway, eventually she is given the job of taking food down to Gregory. And this, I realized I admitted something earlier at the end of Roscoe's story. After the queen dies, he's like running back to the dungeons because like, oh no, I've done something, like something's really bad happened. I'm scared. I'm going back to where I know it's safe.
I've made a big mistake.
He looks back and sees the princess looking at him with, understandably, a very angry look, almost like hatred. And because obviously she blamed him for her mother dying.
Mm-hmm.
So she blamed the mat.
She blames the rat.
Oh.
And the rat is like, I do not like how you looked at me. I will have my revenge for that. He also takes the spoon that his mum was, the queen was using, and puts it on his head. It's like a helmet now. I don't know why he does this, he just does it. Anywho, the relevance of this is when Miggery goes down to give the food to Gregory, she meets the rat, and, you know, they get to talking. She tells him about wanting to be a princess, and he's like, you know what? I think there's a way we could both get what we want here.
Oh.
Wait, you're saying Gregory, do you mean Roscoe?
Yes, I mean Roscoe.
Yeah.
Okay, so Gregory is the other rat that's the prison guard, right?
No.
Gregory is not a rat.
Oh,
Gregory's human.
oh, right. I thought that like they had their own. Okay, I keep thinking that the rats and the mice, like they have their own prison within the prison, and they're
No.
okay.
The rats just live in the regular dungeon, and for the mice, it is a death sentence.
They yeet them out into the prison to be eaten.
In a roundabout
to be
way.
eaten by the prisoners.
No,
Is
to
that-
be eaten by the rats.
Oh, okay.
The prisoners don't carry the way.
Well, the prisoners likely would avoid eating rats because, they'd get very sick from eating rats.
Given the basic diet of a rat, I'd imagine so.
Well, also, the amount of
That's
diseases
true.
they
Yeah.
carry.
Well, they're not known for their cleanliness.
Well, actually,
So we-
technically speaking-
I know.
So we've just casually established that humans can understand rats as well.
Oh yes, I'm sorry, I forgot.
Right,
Yes,
okay.
they can absolutely animals can 100% talk in this.
Also, it's not like...
Right, that would have been
Sorry,
good to know.
burying
That's
the
why I
lead
kept,
here.
okay, yeah, because that's why I kept getting confused. Because whenever he was talking to a character, I assumed it was just another rat, and that's why.
No.
Okay,
No, it's not. Okay,
How else do you think Stuart Little pulled the moves on a human princess?
he has a name. Please use it.
Despereaux.
Thank you.
Sorry, Dumbo, Stuart Little version.
You're not. I'm trying to keep this somewhat serious. You're not helping.
I'm sorry. Oh,
And
look.
then we get to part 4, which is where we bring it all back together.
Okay.
So, what the plan, basically the plan, or Roscoe's plan anyway,
Plan is simple.
not really. Basically, what they do, he chews through Gregory's rope, so Gregory can't find his way through the dungeon anymore. Ends up with Gregory dying.
And getting eaten by rats.
No, just dying. They find his body.
what? Just randomly of natural causes, or what?
Possibly starvation, but I'm not sure. Anywho,
And
and
sure this dungeon isn't a labyrinth?
it is described as a maze.
So it is literally a labyrinth.
Essentially, yes, that's what the rope was for. So he didn't get lost, I mentioned that.
Yeah, but...
Moving on. And what Miggery and Roscoe do is, they wait until nightfall, they kidnap the princess at nightfall, at knife point, they take her down to the dungeons, because this is important to remember, the rats can navigate the dungeons quite easily, because it's where they live.
Well, why can't... why wouldn't she have guards with her at all times?
That is an excellent question. It's never explained. But the plan here is Roscoe and Miggery take the princess down to the dungeon with the intent of having Miggery and the princess swap places.
Does Miggery look anything like the princess?
She does not.
Why would anyone...
It was never going to work, no. And that is where, once they get down to the dungeon, Roscoe double crosses Miggery, admits he's never going to let him leave.
Let her leave, or...
Either of them.
Oh, as in like the now.
Now they're both trapped in the dungeon with no way out.
What did Miggery do to him?
I think she was just convenient.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's I think she was just convenient to be able to
Something
carry
I
the
haven't
knife.
mentioned is there is a phrase Miggery is told quite often throughout her life. No one cares what you want. She is told that multiple times by many people. And that gives you an idea of what she is how she is used to being treated.
That's so sad.
It sucks. It really does suck. So she's been essentially abused most of her life.
So I'm
and then
assuming,
this happens.
So I'm assuming Miggery and the princess are around the same age as each other, right?
Yeah, they're both 12 at this point.
Okay, so because I was just trying to figure, because otherwise I wasn't quite sure. Even if
Yeah, they are the same age.
even if they somewhat looked alike, how they would pull off the switcheroo.
They look
if
nothing alike.
Yeah.
They look nothing alike. It would be very obvious. It was never going to work.
So then why did you believe him?
We've established she's not the smartest girl.
That was probably the first positive thing she was told in all of her life. So
That too,
Yeah.
yes. Like, Roscoe at this point is one of the very few people or animals to actually be nice to her.
Nice. Air quotes.
Yes. Anyway, this is where I bring up the twist, and we find out what happened to Despereaux.
Oh, okay.
Gregory smuggled him out of the dungeon by hiding him on a napkin on his food tray that Miggery took up to the kitchens. Which means he heard Roscoe's entire plan.
Oh, okay.
So, he plans to tell the king the plan, is unfortunately spotted in the kitchen, and ends up hiding in the pantry for several hours.
Okay.
Unfortunately, he falls asleep. By the time he wakes up, it's too late, and the princess has been taken. He tries to tell the king, like, I overheard this plan, I know where your daughter is, she's in the dungeons. The king has issues, doesn't believe him.
Of course.
I think it's perfectly reasonable to not believe a little fairy creature that is speaking to you.
I mean, that is fair. So, Despereaux, in true fairy tale fashion, decides to go after her himself.
Fine, I'll do it myself.
Pretty much. So, he gets the thread to use, like, Gregory's rope, I mean, to try and navigate the dungeon.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm reading through my notes. Oh, and the guy who gives him the thread, she's called the Thread Master. Mouse. Thread Master is Mouse. Because, yes, it's a whole song and dance when a mouse is sent to the dungeons. So there's a Thread Master. And the Thread Master gives him a needle
Oh,
to
okay.
use as a sword.
A rapier.
Pretty much, yeah. But it's actually a needle.
Yeah, but
Because he's a mouse.
rapier is a stabbing weapon.
I know
Sword's
what a
slashing
rapier is.
weapon.
Thank you.
Yep. And so Despereaux now has a needle.
And some thread. And he goes back to the dungeon. Unfortunately, one of the first things he does when he gets back to the dungeon is lose the thread. So he's screwed. To be fair, because of how small Despereaux is, the spool of thread is pretty much the exact same size as him.
That probably wouldn't be long enough to be able to navigate the entire maze.
Probably not, but it's all he can do.
Mm-hmm.
And when he gets into the dungeon, because he's still determined to help, he meets up with Roscoe's rat friend, who's like, oh no, it's okay, I'll help you find the princess. And it's like, oh, I'm a good rat, it's okay. With plans to eat Despereaux as soon as they get to the princess.
Okay.
So, gets to the princess, has a bit of a scuffle with Roscoe, and the other rat decides, oh, this could be entertaining, I think I'll watch. Turns out to be quite an audience by the end of it.
Ooh, okay.
And, how do I put this? This is where it gets weird.
Okay.
Miggery tries to help Despereaux, because remember, she still has the knife that she used to threaten the princess, which is how they got her into the dungeon in the first place.
Wouldn't she be way physically stronger than a freaking rat?
Her aim needs work.
Yeah, but she doesn't need to aim, just, like, stomp on the rat for pity's sakes.
That's where the problem, therein lies the problem. They need the rat to get out of the dungeon.
They don't necessarily.
They really do. The rats are now because Gregory's dead, the rats are the only ones who can navigate the dungeon. So they'd literally be lost without him. So eventually, like, they make a big thing out of the princess finally asking what Miggery wants, which no one has ever done before. And that's sort of like... And then it ends up with... Essentially, the princess bribes the rat with soup. And that somehow convinces him. And she essentially forgives him for the death of her mother as well.
Now, hang on. I'm still confused. Was it Roscoe or Despereaux that fell into the soup bowl?
Roscoe.
So Roscoe was the one that the princess initially found and adopted in the first.
No, that was Despereaux.
Despereaux was the one who was...
Despereaux is the mouse, Roscoe is the rat.
So the princess found Despereaux after her mother died.
No, before.
No,
This
it
is
was
long
after.
before.
It was after.
Oh, okay.
Roscoe was born before Despereaux. Remember, we went back in time.
Yes, but didn't she interact with Despereaux before her mother died?
No. No, she didn't.
Well, she got over that trauma pretty quick.
She was able to differentiate between a mouse and a rat.
All right. Okay.
They are two completely different animals.
Okay, so because Roscoe was given soup, he was like...
He leads them out of the dungeon. That's really all it took.
Yeah, so it was like...
And he also... I say that's really all he took. He also admits why he did what he did. He, quote, just wanted some light of his own.
Yeah, I do recall that.
So yes, because he was sort of starting to feel like he'd never be accepted up in the castle, which probably wouldn't be. And yes, they all end up getting back into the main castle. With all the kindness and forgiveness happening, the other rats lose interest and leave. Very convenient. So, obviously, the only thing that can happen between a mouse and a princess happens. They just become friends. Because obviously, they're not going any further than that.
So they're not doing a Princess and the Frog?
No, they are not doing a Princess and the Frog. Well, the Princess and the Frog wasn't actually a frog. He was a prince turned into a frog.
Yes.
The mouse was born a mouse.
Yes, I'm
and he
aware.
will stay a mouse. Let me think what else happens. Oh, the dad is released. Miggery's dad is released. Treats her a lot better.
Okay.
Roscoe helps reunite the two.
Why?
I'm not entirely sure.
As in
He's
her
trying-
original biological dad,
Yeah.
you mean? Okay.
So he turns over a new leaf because of soup.
In a roundabout way, yes. Soup is no longer banned, and the king relaxes a bit. And it ends with Despereaux's family looking up as like, what is he doing? I don't get it. Because they still don't understand his fascination with humans.
Right, okay.
And that is how it ends. With
Okay.
everybody being friends. There is something I'd like to touch on before questions I get bombarded with.
Yes, okay.
There's a very important thing in this story, which I think isn't mentioned very often in most stories these days. Because there's two scenes regarding forgiveness. One is with the princess and the rat. And the other is one of... On Despereaux's way to get the thread, he runs into some of his family members. One of his family members, like his dad, I believe, he was the one who actually summoned the council in the first place. He asks for forgiveness for that. And both the people being asked for forgiveness realize something I think rather interesting. Forgiveness isn't just about the person asking for it. It's also about the person giving it. So they both, Princess and Despereaux, both realized, I need to forgive them so that I can heal and move on from this trauma. So it's not just about the person who is getting the forgiveness, it's about the person giving it as well. Because the princess admits, because we hear a bit of her thoughts as well, she doesn't like the rat. She will probably never like the rat, but she can forgive him and move on.
Okay. Two questions.
Sure.
One, why do you think other people should care about this story? And two, why do you dislike the movie adaptation so much?
Well, I think the second question's easy to answer because it's very different from the book for starters, and full disclosure, I haven't seen it in a while, but I think it misses out on a few key character developments.
Okay.
And honestly, aside from anything else, this is a fun story. It's a nice fairy tale. And there are some other deep themes in this that I don't think you see in a lot of kids' stories these days. Like, it talks about what the princess is going through in her mind when she's being held at knife point and being taken down to the dungeon. She's not thinking about herself. She's thinking about the girl holding the knife and thinking, what must it be like to want something this badly?
Oh, that's a really interesting take on it. Because I think, usually princess characters in fiction usually are depicted as really selfish or bratty.
Depends on where you're looking from. And speaking of fairy tales, I think they make a joke on the princess's name. Her name is P.
Oh, yeah, Princess P, yeah.
Yes, that is her name. So I assume that's a reference to Princess and the Pea. Whether it's meant to be as a reference or an actual joke, I don't know.
It could also be a reference to, I can't remember.
It was common somewhere at some point.
Well, would that be short for Penelope or something?
Could be, but she's only ever referred to as Princess P.
Yeah, well, I think, just jumping back to that, I think that also kind of demonstrates compassion in a really interesting way because a lot of stories, well, at least a lot of older fairy tales, fables tend to have the villain of the story and then they just get their comeuppance.
Pretty much, yeah, but I like that there's multiple points of view in this. In most kids' stories these days, I think Roscoe would just be the bad guy, but we actually get an understanding of his thought processes and why he's doing what he's doing, and he sort of eventually realizes, okay, I mucked up, I'll try and fix it.
So, you're saying that, if this were a Disney movie, Roscoe would probably kill the mother on purpose somehow, just right from the beginning.
Now I'm just picturing something Rattigan style from Basil and the Great Mouse Detective.
A little bit.
I mean, maybe.
But
that would be a bit dark, though.
You didn't answer my second question, though.
Oh, sorry, what was that?
You did say why. Well, she was saying it was about why you think that this book version is better than the movie.
No. First question, sorry. Why do you think this story is important?
Did they not?
Or what lessons people could derive from it, perhaps?
She did answer that.
I definitely answered that.
Yeah.
We just did a whole thing about it, the deep themes, the fun story. Discusses empathy, it discusses forgiveness.
Kind of like how,
Did you block out that entire conversation we just had?
My brain kind of went...
I mean, that's fine.
I am talking about deep things here, I'm offended.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it's kind of interesting how they... Well, I mean, kind of similar to B-movie, how this mouse just falls in love with this human girl.
Yeah. I know the book calls it that, but given how young Despereaux is, I hesitate to call it actual love. It just could be childish infatuation.
Or admiration.
Yeah, something like that. Or it could even just be a boyhood crush, who knows, but... At that age, I know mice don't live long, but that's neither here nor there. I'm not, and as someone who is asexual, I'm not really one for love at first sight. I think there has to be more to it than that. And this is a just glancing at her and immediately falling in love thing, so... The book calls it love. I'm not entirely sure if that's what it is.
Well, also, there are different types of love than just romantic.
This is true. But, the book implies that it's the romantic kind.
Well, I mean, there's, different types of love. I mean, there's obviously, love at first sight in that, that pet is adorable. I want to keep it, without even knowing what personality it has. You just see it and you're like, I want to adopt it now.
I think that was what was going through the princess's head when she saw Despereaux.
Yeah, well, so maybe it's mutual. Like, it's the same sort of thing with him looking at her.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. Also, like, I mentioned during Despereaux's section of the story, like, he was constantly being criticized because of his ears, because of how small he was, because he was different. The princess actually complimented him on the things that were everything that everyone else was picking on.
Oh yeah, that's the other thing I was going to point out. Like, I'm not sure whether it was just lost in translation because you were just paraphrasing it the whole time, but it seems like the whole thing with his wonky ears was just never brought up again. Like, it just... Like, it was mentioned in his general description at the beginning, but it never actually came into play in the story.
I didn't bring it up again because I didn't think it was important. It was just a reason for the other mice to bully him, basically.
Right, yeah.
Like Dumbo.
Well, yeah, also, it's just, I think one thing I wanted to kind of go back on is that there's this period where, Roscoe is like really obsessed with light.
Yes.
And I feel like they kind of like that's just briefly touched on at the beginning. Do they really cover it that much later on in the story, or
they don't really, like, yes and no. Like, it's not a very detailed it's not really a detailed section, but it does say, like, for quite a while, up until the point where he goes into the actual castle, he will look for light wherever he can find it. It's almost like a montage in a way. Like, it's briefly mentioned, and, like, it simply said, like, he was relentless in his pursuit of light. He would look for it everywhere. All because of a match that was lit in his face.
Right. So, yeah, he would just look for it ever. I mean,
that is something that because there are times when the author will address the audience,
mm-hmm.
and in one case, and in a couple of cases, it explains that, like, actions have consequences. This action led to these consequences. The match in Roscoe's face led to the consequence of him being obsessed with light. Led to him going up to the castle. Led to him falling into the soup, Queen dying, soup getting bad.
Yeah. Although, like...
When you put them all together like that, it sounds ridiculous.
Most children's stories plot lines do sound a bit ridiculous.
Especially when we have talking animals.
Well, who was the one who set his whisker on fire again?
Gregory, the jailer.
Gregory. And so then Roscoe kills Gregory for this transgression.
Actually, no. Roscoe, I don't think killing him was the plan. I think the plan was simply to cut through Gregory's rope so he couldn't be able to navigate the maze anymore, because if Gregory could navigate the maze, he could find the princess. So with Gregory out of the way, that ceases to be a problem. Not entirely sure killing him was the point. It was simply him getting lost.
Okay. Any other questions for today?
Echoing silence, I'm assuming not.
Well,
so I'm going to close this off because this is my story that I'm doing, and ask, are any of you likely to look into this book yourself?
No.
Probably not.
No.
Thought not.
Well, that's everything for today's episode of Rambling Media. Thank you all for listening. If you look both ways before you cross the road, we're very proud of you. And have a great night.
Bye.
So long.
Sayonara.
You know they can't see you when you wave, right?
You don't know that. They could be psychic.
All right. End of episode. Bye.
Bye.